This is Cooking for Husband, episode 2. Episode 1 was so much fun. Thank you everybody for turning in and leaving your comments and your emails. Speaking of emails, I have a request from Straight But Hungry. Dear Cooking for Husband, I am looking for a good Mediterranean summer recipe for my hubby that is not too spicy. It also needs to satisfy my parents who are not keen on trying new things that seem out of the ordinary. Can you help me? Yes, I do believe I can. Making a wonderful Moroccan chili on a bed of couscous, topped with goat cheese and pomegranate seeds. It's got lots of spices, it's got some very exotic flavors, but it's still something familiar that your parents are going to appreciate. So let's get started. Alright, the first thing we're going to do is put our spices together. Now we're going to need 2 tablespoons of cumin, 2 teaspoons of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of nutmeg, 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 1 teaspoon of coriander, 1 teaspoon of chili powder, 1 teaspoon of ground ginger, 1 tablespoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of paprika, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of white pepper, and a 1/4 teaspoon of saffron. Now I know this is a lot of spices, but really all of these things you should have in your spice collection anyway, so I don't feel bad for you. And you go ahead and grind all these guys together. And if you want this to be a little spicier, you just add some more cayenne pepper. Alright, I'm going to grab my lamb. Now I have here is 1 pound of lamb that I have cubed and then dried. Drying is going to be very important, or you're not going to get that nice sear later. We're just going to dump all the seasoning on top. And we're going to get all that lamb coated. That looks good. And we're going to let this chill in the refrigerator for at least an hour. Alright, these look about ready. Good. What I'm going to do is I put vegetable oil into my pot, and I'm going to take half of this and plop it in here. Now you're going to want to space them out. So you want these to sear, you don't want them to boil. And don't be concerned that some of those spices are sticking to the bottom. That's what we want. Alright, those are looking good. I'm going to pull these out of here. Now when you're frying these up, you don't got to get them cooked all the way. You just got to make sure that they're seared on the outside, because they're going to cook further with the rest of the vegetables. Now you can see I got a lot of the spices that are still left at the bottom. That's fine too. I'm just going to add those in at the end. Alright, looks like these guys are done. Now you can see you got all that nice black stuff on the bottom. That is going to flavor our liquids here in a little bit. Now right now I got onions, orange peppers, tomatoes, and green peppers, and 4 cloves of garlic. Now I'm going to pop in my onions, a little bit of salt, give those a nice stir. Alright, looks like those are sweated pretty well. I'm going to add in my garlic. And you can already smell that. It just smells great. So I'm just going to go ahead and add my yellow peppers and my green peppers. Let those fry up just a minute. And once those begin to soften up just a bit, we're going to add in our tomatoes. That is just beautiful. You got the red of the tomatoes, the green and the orange and the white of the onions. not to mention the smell. Now we're going to add another pinch of salt, brighten up those flavors. This is just going to be beautiful. All our vegetables are softened. It smells great, and just look at those colors. Looks like the Moroccan flag. Alright, we're about ready to dump our lamb back in. And if you remember the spices that didn't quite attach themselves to the lamb, I'm going to dump that in now. Give that a good stir. I'm going to add 1.5 cups of lamb stock. Now if you can't find lamb stock, you can use beef stock, you can use chicken stock. But I like the lamb that has a little less salt, and I want to be able to control how much salt in my dishes. Then I'm going to add my tomato sauce. Now I can hear my mother yelling at me right now. You're using canned tomato sauce? Yes, I did not make my own tomato sauce, but the canned works just well. Nice thing about this recipe is if you're having guests over, you don't want to be spending all your time in the kitchen cooking. So this way you can get everything set up ahead of time, you can get everything on the stove, and then your guests arrive and you can entertain them while you're getting everything ready. Pomegranate's going to be really messy, so I'm going to show you how to de-seed this thing and have it not get all over your kitchen. First thing you need to do is score it, and then just kind of rip it apart. And all of those seeds are going to sink down to the bottom, and the rest of this is all going to float to the top. This has been simmering for about an hour. It smells great. I'm going to go ahead and get started on my couscous. I have 1 cup of broth. Add your couscous. Stir it up. Turn off the heat. Cover it. And wait 5 minutes. Now while my husband is getting washed up for dinner, I'm going to start plating this thing. Now our couscous has been sitting out for 5 minutes, and that is just beautiful. And create a nice little bed for our Moroccan chili to sit in. And just look how beautiful that chili turned out. All the colors, the red, the yellow, the white. Just gonna add a little goat cheese, give it a little bite and a little sprig of color. And those pomegranate seeds that we made earlier. Isn't that beautiful? My husband is very adventurous about food, but sometimes after a long day at work, he just wants something that's familiar and comforting. But this recipe is the perfect blend of the exotic and the familiar for anybody's husband, gay or straight. Remember to subscribe and leave me a message, and thank you so much for watching.